What is up, people? The wait is officially over. What's going on, everybody? It is your boy MM2K back again with another episode of Stadia Live Session featuring yours truly, MM2K. Man, it is good to be back. I want to shout out everybody in the chat, but before I can do that, I got to connect the chat to my little handy visual. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. You gotta excuse me. I'm knocking a lot of rust off today. You got to excuse me. Me apologies. But shout out, I see y'all all out there. Thank y'all so much for your patience and your support. We got about a good hour to chat, so I don't want to do too much talking. Just bring you up to date on why I may have stepped away for a little bit. It was not intentional for it to be this long. And just rap to you guys about some other stuff. If it would just let me connect the chat, that'd be great. There we go. With no further ado, let me shout everybody out that is here already. We got Victor Del Maestro in the house. What's up, Vic? Long time no argue. No, I'm just messing with you, brother. You know I love you. I don't think my soundboard is going to work. It says ensure that the IP address is correct. Oh, man. So I got to find out the new IP address. I ain't got time to do that, so we got to wing it today, baby. Jay Smith is in the house. He says, what's good, people? We got Joe McFlow, the homie Joe McFlow. And if you don't know, check out Joe McFlow. Check out his channel, man. Definitely he's in the house. We got the homie KBJ, also another content creator. Check him out. And let me say this real quick. I want to hop here. Let me hop here. Let me see if it's working first. We don't want no funny duddy business today. We can't have no. Yeah, they're about to hit us with some funny duddy business. All right. Let's go to properties. Let me know if you all can hear me good and okay. If the audio levels are good and everything. All right. So now we can do this. This is PNTS Network. This is the homepage for all of our video game content. Like PNTS Network is the homepage for StadiaDosage and a lot of other content that you see out there in the gaming universe. This looked a little funky. There we go. All right. Great article by Jack. We have Stadia's lead and platform, some other articles and things that you can read up on there. But I didn't bring you there because of this. I brought you here because of this, or Community Digest. We have a lot of people that are not part of this Community Digest that should be. And you have to excuse me because just with the revolving things that I've had to deal with this move and everything, I may have missed some of you guys. So I really need you to do what a lot of the people that are now being added to the digest are doing. Send an email. If you look at the digest, it tells you where to go. You can go to sdofeedback@pntsnetwork.com. Send us an email, let us know, say, hey, I create content too, M2K, I'd like to be part of this digest, or any other questions or comments or concerns that you have. And definitely shoot them to us there. We are adding people every time we get an update, okay? So definitely let us know. Don't pout your mouth, crinkle cut your face up. I'm not on there. It's not intentional. A lot of moving parts. Right now, shout out to the homie Colt of Stadia, who helps me go through that list. But again, there might be things that we miss. So definitely reach out to us if you are a content creator, if you're getting into content, or you just got general questions or concerns that you want to address. All right. Cool beans. All right, so now I got to do this. I got to wing this on the fly. Let's go back. But shout out to KBJ, who is also a content creator. You'll now notice them on the StadiaDosage Digest, weekly digest. All right. We got Winstar in the house. What is going on? Eric Streameroo, good to see you all again, man. Y'all just don't know. Winstar, the homie Kenry V, became a member again. Thank you so much for your support. We got GGC Playtime in the house. Says, what's up? We also got C-Pro in the house. Good to see you. Jeff, my homie Jeff G in the house, man. We had a hell of a show last night. Jeff, you don't have your wings, Jeff. We got to fix that. Jeff, I need you to do me a huge favor, my friend, because that was a hell of a show. It really not only helped me knock the rust off, Jeff, but I got a chance to talk to a gamer with lineage. And I love all my gamers. You know what I'm saying? Young, old, new, whatever the case may be. But a lot of the things that I say that you guys think are controversial, I think Jeff can relate to. It's kind of like sometimes as we talk about the stuff that's happening in gaming right now, we make up these we try to talk definite of things that are not definite. What do I mean by that? We say things about certain genres of gaming or certain things that are happening in gaming without understanding the lineage and how we got here. Oh, Google just dropped $75 million or $7.5 billion like Bethesda did. Man, come on, what are you guys doing? You must hate Stadia. But if you don't have the lineage like Jeff and I, you don't understand that Microsoft didn't just come out and drop $7.5 billion. They had to go through several generations of heartache, of pain, of losing over $11 billion for the first 2 generations. They had to go through all that and then finally become a sustainable source for Microsoft before they could write those checks. That took years. And now that you're in a situation to where you don't have a fight over the living room, which a lot of you don't know what the hell that is, but Jeff does. Now that you don't have that fight over the living room anymore, you can't just burn money like how you did back in those days. You have to be lean and mean. Just the state of the economy altogether, and Jeff knows that. Jeff is a businessman. He's a keen businessman. And I love talking to people like that because sometimes I do get heartburn. I do get heartburn trying to explain these norms and trying to explain the progression to people that are a little wet behind the ears. So that's why a lot of the stuff that I may say may sound controversial. It's like, MM2K, you're so dismissive. You're so this. No, there's facts and there's emotions. And I've been around the block too long to diddle daddle too much in emotions. You know, I want to get everybody acclimated to the facts so we know why things are happening. When we were telling you guys, Stadia's not going anywhere, they're going to last 2 years, and people are like, I don't know. They might have 3 days left in them, MM2K. This is why now we are celebrating the 2-year anniversary. We're now in year 3 when those folks didn't think that they had more than 24 hours to live. You got to understand that this is not a premier platform. They got to build their way to that. Jack Buser said that they got to earn the respect, and you can't say that Stadia can do or they can just do what Xbox did. If they do what Xbox did, they're going to wait a long time before they write out these big checks, okay? You got to understand the lineage. People like Jack, Stadia Pro, Ray, everybody was on that panel. Storm hopped in last minute. The homie Willie, that is the retro gamer collector. You got to watch that show. So Jeff, if you get a chance, please drop a link to that show in there. I need some of my younger biddies. Or I used to have this crazy guy that rode this bike around the neighborhood. He was a little zooted on something, if you know what I mean. And when we were younger, me and my friends, we would try to talk to the young ladies and stuff like that. He would just drive by on this bike and he'd be like, yeah, I see y'all trying to talk to the huggy ones. And he would just drive off. And we don't know what the hell that meant. But decades later, me and my friends, we say, oh yeah, you try to talk to the huggy ones or the huggy ones. We refer to the young people as the huggy ones. We guess that's what the guy meant. So for the huggy ones, Jeff, I need you to do me a huge favor. Drop a link to that show because they need to see that stuff. They got to understand why we're here right now. You got to understand this stuff. It's not me being dismissive. It's me getting you out of the weeds, back on track, okay? Back on the beaten path, all right? So, appreciate all of y'all being here. Who else we got here in the chat? We got the homie 4 Scars Gaming, the hardest working man in these Stadia streets out here. Collins Dynasty says, welcome back, good sir. I'm glad to be back. Thank you so much. Jay Smith, he says you were moving right. Yeah, man, I was trying to move. Oh my gosh. Jason Lloyd in the house. Hey y'all. Oh, we got my homie Chariot Man Gaming. Hey Chariot, I need you to check your DM. I dropped you something a little bit ago. If y'all ain't down, Chariot Man is burning it up, man. Chariot Man is burning. I remember me and Chariot Man, speaking of lineage, we got lineage. Me and Chariot Man did a podcast. See, Chariot Man, this is why it's great to have entertaining blocks in your portfolio, things that, we love to hear, drama and debate and all that other stuff. But you can never go wrong being educated. And I hate to tell you, the people that provide the best education are the people that were there. Not the people that can click Google the fastest, the people that were there. People like Jeff, Stadia Pro, and Chariot Man. I did podcasts with Chariot Man several years ago. We did a podcast together. The homie, he's from Pittsburgh too. Oh man, I can't believe I forgot his name. Good friend. I forgot his stage name. Nonetheless, we did a podcast together. Listen to Chariot Man. He knows his stuff. If I can find that podcast, I'll put it out there. All right. So y'all definitely, I get that a lot of the stuff is entertaining, but some of you might get fickle off of how I come off because we're trying to stay out of the weeds here. This is new territory for across the board, but we want to understand, even though this is new territory, we want to understand where are they pulling their thought processes from. And a lot of it has been key. I've been telling you, Clyde's been telling you, Project Storm has said some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like there were little driplets of things all over the place for people with the lineage. So despite all the controversy and the debate and the wild off the cuff things that people may say, get some people that were there in your listening portfolio. Do not be led astray. Chariot Man is one of those people. Thank you, One Star. I appreciate it. Jeff says, hey, CMG, who else we got in the house? Who else we got in here? We got Fabio77B.N. He says, Sayo Stadia top. We got Funky Hands. He says, love your positive energy. Stadia needs creators like you. Hey, Funky, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we got Eric, who is celebrating 8 months of membership. Time goes by, especially with kids in the house. You ain't lying. J Wags, yes. J Wags, yes, sir. CMG says yes. That was J Wags. Shout out to my brother J Wags 412. Me and him was supposed to. That's a whole nother thing. We ain't got much time, and I've already babbled for 20 minutes. But shout out to everybody. Do me a huge favor. Tweet this out. Let everybody know that we're live. I'm gonna have to at 12:30. We're gonna cut this off because I'm a little further out now, and because I'm a little further out, I have to travel longer to go pick up my wife, and then we got some errands to run. But speaking of all that, I didn't even do my fancy show off introduction. Hello, everybody. I am MM2K. All right, and this is SLS featuring MM2K, where this is an open mic session. We highlight the things that you have to say because it's all about the community. These are great conversations, and I also think important stuff that Stadia might want to see and learn and hear from. You know what I mean? It'll really help them out. And again, I am MM2K of PNTS Network and StadiaDosage. So let's talk about it. I want to talk about my hiatus real quick. I'm not going to go too long into that. And then I want to talk about my confidence in Stadia, despite other platforms doing some things out there, or there's rumors that some other things are coming. And we're going to dibble dab a little bit into the growing buzz. All right. But first and foremost, let's do this. Let's talk my hiatus. Also, I want to say too, if you want to, this is an open forum. We're going to go through the chat. I try my best not to miss comments, but if you definitely got a comment that you want us to go through and play, do us a huge favor. Just hit that super chat button. Not only does it get your comment out there, but it goes a long way to support the platform as well. And I definitely hate missing great comments. All right. With that being said, let's get into topic number 1, which is my hiatus. MM2K, where the hell were you at, man? I had to move because me and my wife bought a house. The house that we were in before we didn't own. And the crazy thing about it was we were going to buy the house from the owner. Long story short, I moved in it. Me and my wife, we were off and on. Then we stopped playing around. We got married, but she's always had this nice little cozy house. I've been all over the place, condos here, this, that, and the other. Right now, I stopped being a jerk, and was being the other half that I should have been. And then we united officially, and then I just moved into her house. And then I'm like, let's buy the house. And she's like, no, I don't want to buy it. I'm like, come on, let's buy the house. And she just didn't want to buy it. The owner was willing to do it. We just paid or rent or whatever. It was a nice spot. And I'm glad, years later, we didn't buy the house because the house is jacked up and it needs a lot of work. So our kids are grown for the most part. We don't want them coming back because they got kids of their own now. I don't play that, you know what I mean? Oh, Dad, I'm down on my luck, Dad. Hey, man, can you, straighten up the spare room for me and my 95 kids? Hell no, you're not coming back here. I left at 17 and a half, and I never looked back. Never looked back. And I've always tried to instill that in my kids. So some got it, some didn't. And for the ones that didn't, I wanted to make sure they had no incentive of trying to come back. So me and my wife, we wanted to downsize, but then we didn't because the property ended up being wider. You know what I mean? But in the way that the property is built, it allows us to do some things different, but it's not for somebody that's moving in with their kids or whatever. So basically we're safe. We're freeloader safe. Ain't no freeloading kids coming to this new house. But we ran into some difficulties with the move, with the sale. My wife works real early in the morning. We got to make sure that we have a property that is close to her job because in the wintertime it gets real bad out here. And she works at a hospital, so she can't say, oh, it was ice storm. It was an ice storm out here. She'll get fired. She works in the surgery department, so she'll get fired. So we got to make sure that she can still get to work. It's still in mobile distance, or before what we were trying to do is we were trying to be in walking distance. This is a little further out, so she's not in walking distance, but at least if something goes bad with the car and she can't drive it, she can catch the bus. Bus comes right in front of her house, and they keep on top of this road for the bus to come down this road. So we're in a good spot there. But one thing I just want to say out there, because I flipped houses before, and somebody told me this, because when about 2 decades ago, when the housing market was just like going crazy and they were giving houses to everybody, I said to myself, I want to get in on this. So I flipped a couple of houses. And I remember talking to a coworker, and a coworker was like, oh, that's predatory lending. Because what I was doing was I flipped a couple of houses, and then it was one house that I did a rent to own on. You know what I'm saying? And then I took some of my money out and did some other stuff and then turned it over to a buddy to continue to rent to own. And I remember somebody said, you know what, that's predatory lending, which in some ways it was, but I was young. I didn't know any better. Like that whole rent to own thing, that's predatory lending, and it's going to come back to bite you. Wait till you go buy your house. And it did. We had some complications, things that went crazy in the house. It's still a great house, but some things that the seller concealed. And then what didn't help us is that our real estate agent and their real estate agent was from the same company. So whenever you have that, you start having references being made. This is who can inspect the house. This is who can do this. And they're not made in your interest anymore. They're simply made because, both agents from the real estate agency say, we can make money here. Let's just close this deal. And then everybody's in cahoots. And there were things that obviously were missed that shouldn't have been missed, that we had to go back and forth on and get some things settled. And now we're finally in a good place to where now I can go, honey, can I start podcasting again? And she says, okay, yeah, you're good. You know what I mean? So that's what's happened to me and why I was away for so long. All right. It wasn't because I didn't want to do this. I missed it. I missed the camaraderie. I missed keeping up with the news. It was just so many revolving parts here that I had to put this to the side and take care of all that stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what being a good husband is all about. We got Ninja Guy X in the house. Cherry Man says, I got him on Facebook as well. I do. Yeah, I am friending him on. I'm rarely on Facebook, but I friended him on Facebook as well. It's the homie. JWags412, and I loved his content when he was doing it. Dusty Araya says, I enjoyed the episode of Retro Rewind yesterday. Thank you so much. It was a great episode. It definitely was a fantastic episode, and they did so much to make me feel welcome. I loved it, and if the opportunity presents itself, I love to come back because, I love talking about gaming lineage. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we got Joe McFlow in the house. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. And we got my brother from another mother. He says, Stadia's done for. Amunor is back in the house. Shout out to Amunor. Good to see you, good friend. He says, invest on real estate, not Stadia. Shut up. Shut your butt up. All right. So let's do this. I want to also, because I was kind of doing this in secret, but as I thought about it over the weekend, there's really no need to do this in secret. And I was doing it in secret because I didn't want to make it seem like this was some Ponzi scheme. We did it in secret because we wanted to pilot it, test it, see how it worked, and we were able to do that this weekend. And I think we had a good result in how everything came out and how everything looked. But we're going to extend it even further. And I want to say to people that now you're going to see a revitalized Stadia Dosage that's specifically for you, the content creator, and for you, the community member, something that we've always wanted to do. So if you break down what's been happening year 1, year 2, and then what's going to happen in year 3. In year 1, we were just trying to get established, right? And in year 2, we were trying to make the transition from just getting established and handing over this platform to the community. But that took a whole year. Where we thought it would only take 3 months. We ran into some various complications there. And then we had to really sit down, look at our plan, look how we were utilizing our resources, and then we had to start from scratch again and say, okay, let's put this person here, let's put this person here. Here goes our needs. Because this is a platform that's solely about the community, along with Stadia, of course. But the community is the heart of this platform. So how can we make this really the StadiaDosage platform without it being MM2K masked as StadiaDosage? So you'll see new members, new contributors, new panelists, things like that. I've been talking to some people behind the scenes. Like I said, I don't want to say we were doing it in secret, but it wasn't as transparent because we wanted to test some things. Now I think we're at a good space. And I just want to make a formal announcement that if you're a content creator, and it really doesn't matter who you operate with, as long as your content is a great or decent fit for the community. You know what I mean? It's aligned with the community. We have so many situations to where we want to be separate from the norms that we're seeing. We're seeing so many situations where journos and talking heads say things about Stadia that are completely opposite, the complete antithesis of how the community feels about said subject matter. Now, it is different if you're coming to the plate and you're like, look, here goes some new information and here's how I perceive that new information. That's different. But there's, say me, I'm a Stadia denier or whatever, and then there's Joe McFlow. And I say to Joe, you know what? Stadia is laggy and it's buggy. And then Joe says, no, I don't have that experience. I don't know what you're talking about. Way too often in the mainstream media, we're seeing people represent a platform to a community where what they're saying, the rhetoric is completely unmatched and unhinged from that community. And I've never seen that anywhere. Like, you don't have Xbox podcasts telling the Xbox community Xbox sucks. There may be things that they don't like. There may be things that they feel like that can be done better. But the Xbox community right now is at a fever pitch. Right? They're more excited than they've ever been. I don't know how I can represent that community if nothing that I say matches the sentiments of that community. Not saying that you can't be part of it for having your own opinions. You know, everybody can have their own opinions. But to be a staple of said community and the majority of your rhetoric doesn't reflect that community? Okay, maybe one occasion that's happening, 2 occasions that's happening. All right, fine. But for the majority of the talking journos and the faces that represent said platform on a broader scale to not be in tune with the Stadia community, to me, that's a problem. So what we want to do here is we want to highlight the platform, the good and the bad and all the other stuff. But we definitely, at the heart of that, we want to highlight the sentiments of the community. So if you feel like that you have content that signifies that represents the community, or you feel like that you have good content that is a supplement for the community, come on over, especially if you're new. Even if you're not new, if you're new and you're like, hold on, I'm trying to make headway here, I really can't utilize the power of our platform to help spread your word, to help get people acclimated to your content. That's what this channel was to be about in the first place, was to celebrate our joys and our pains of the platform, you know what I'm saying? And to highlight new community members. That's why we've done that's why we do the weekly DCD. So if you're interested, let me take you back here. Go to, any of our weekly DCDs, and you can see the link there to email us, or sdofeedback@pntsnetwork.com. We've gotten a number of them over the weekend. Trust me, I got everybody that sent stuff. We got a whole bunch of people that sent stuff like on Thanksgiving for some reason. And we got a bunch of stuff over the weekend. We're going to reach out to you. I've reached out to some people. We're going to reach out to more people and set up some conversations and things like that. But if you are interested in doing that, you know what I mean? We can help you do that. Now, one of the perks there's many perks of coming here, kind of like I don't want to say a public access, but access channel, but coming here and utilizing the power of our platform, the passion of our listeners and viewers, is not only do you get more exposure, but again, this is about you. So what we do is we go to content creators and we say, hey, look, if you want to put something out here on the platform, let's talk about revenue split. And what do I mean by revenue split is the channel is monetized. So ads will pop up and things like that. And what we'll do is we'll go to a content creator and say, hey, look, Do you want your content monetized? And if you want your content monetized, cool. The overwhelming majority of that monetization goes to you. We get a portion to help maintain and the facilitation of this content, and we do a lot of the heavy lifting over here, and we continue on. You could say, you know what? I don't want to participate in the monetization. I want to just get the exposure, and that's fine. Whatever works for you. But we're now letting everybody know in 2022, year 3 of Stadia, we are opening up the platform for those that want that exposure, that want to contribute to the Stadia community and feel like that they have that, you know, they can add and help highlight and be a lighthouse to the pulse of the Stadia community. You know what I mean? I get that there's a lot of conversations that are happening out there in the ethos about, well, I think Stadia needs to do this and Stadia needs to do that, and that's fine. Let those people have those conversations. I don't want to be a cookie cutter of them. We don't want this platform to be a cookie cutter of them. We want to exemplify and represent truly the feelings and the passions and stuff of the Stadia community. We're not to be the talking journals. Well, I mean, the Stadia community feels this way, but I think that no. So if you feel like that your content is in line with that, then reach out to us, let us know, and we can make some things happen. And like I said, all of you, everybody, I haven't reached out to everybody. I've only reached out to a minority of the people because there were still some things that I had to shore up. But trust me, we got all your messages. I will be reaching out to folks, or if it's not me, other people will be reaching out to folks. Okay. So I wanted to put that out there, definitely. Let's go back to this chat. We got Randy B says, yo, what's up, MM2K? What is up, my good friend? We got Stadia Pro Gaming. He says, love that energy. All right. Appreciate you, brother. Now, with that being said, let's get on to our topics. Topic number 1 is, well, we already went over topic number 1, which is my hiatus. I want to talk about, let's see here. Am I going to go out of order here? All right, I want to talk about, I think this will be a great topic to talk about. We've seen a lot of celebration of Stadia in regards to, hey, you know what? GFN is doing this or xCloud is doing that, and I think that they're better, and Stadia's in deep doo-doo, right? And people are entitled to their opinions. That's fine. If you like it, I love it. As someone that has all of them, I want to explain my reasons for still having Stadia, being able to appreciate all those other services, but why Stadia is still my preferred service. My preferred service. That wasn't supposed to come out that way. My preferred service. All right. So, GFN dropped a new tier, the 3080 tier as they call it. And they said that the tier would be doing certain things as far as allowing you to go and do some better visuals, and latency and things of that nature. And that tier does do some great things. It definitely do some great things. If I was, and there are some things to where I would say, yeah, like, if I had to line everything up, in regards to attributes from Stadia and GFN, I could, there are definitely check boxes that I would put in the favor of GFN's side with this new tier. But for me, as great as I think that tier is for its core demographic, which I think are those that are people like my son. We just had this conversation again yesterday. After he helped me at the old house. He wants to buy a PC, and he got he got some money. He's been working. I made sure that he's working. And I said, well, son, you don't have enough to get a new PC. And I told him, in my opinion, if you can't get a 3000 series card, it's not even worth it right now. Once you get to the 3000 series card echelon, I think you're in a good spot to build a PC. Just my thoughts. I said, but you got a couple of $100. You got several $100 really. And I said, you like GFN, right? He said, yeah, I love GFN. This is his favorite place to play. I said, now, why don't you could upgrade from your Chromebook that I got you last year. Get you a better, a decent laptop, or a better Chromebook. And then utilize that 3080 tier because you'll get better output. And I said, if you can find a Chromebook, I don't know if there's a Chromebook that can do 1440p. And you know what, now that I think, is there a native app for GFN? Because I don't know if you can get up to 1440p on a Chromebook for GFN, because I don't know if there's a native. If you can, great. And if not, he's going to have to get a laptop. That's all. And so he can install the native app, a PC-based laptop, and install the native app and play up to 1440p. And he'll enjoy that. And I think it's built great for that core demographic. But someone like myself who wants ease of use, I want to be able to just plug it in and play it. I don't want to deal with other UIs. I want performance that's consistent. I recorded some footage where, with the games that I play, I've seen some great examples of GFN where games like Kenna or whatever, they look fantastic. And they're like, wow, that's really, the visuals on that are really unmatched when it comes to the cloud, right? And the performance. But then I went to the games that I play, the Ubisoft games and some other games that I play. And I took a little bit of footage of GFN. I took footage of Stadia. And again, there are check marks where I can say, GFN does better here than Stadia. But it wasn't $200 a year better. And that's my thing. If we talk about adding it to your portfolio for the average Stadia user, and you got the $200 to swing it, and you want to have another platform in your back pocket in case Stadia doesn't get the Guardians of the Galaxies and stuff like that, and you want to play GFN at the highest performance because maybe the other performance, like for me, was too grainy or whatever, fine. And you don't want to worry about those caps at the moment, fine. I just don't subscribe to, because the data doesn't show it. No one in Stadia demographic, it doesn't show it. I don't subscribe to it being a Stadia killer. I subscribe to it being a great product that's specific for a certain core demographic that's different from the Stadia core demographic. And you can see crossover appeal where you might see people that play on Stadia that got the money to play with this can do that. But as far as it for being for the average Stadia gamer a replacement, even for a performance buff like me, no. And I'm not the atypical Stadia gamer. I'm more, if anything, if you look at my what I like to do, I'm more in tune to what GFN offers, because before I came to Stadia, I was a PC gamer. Like, I abandoned Xbox and consoles, I was doing PC gaming. And GFN still eliminates a lot of the issues that I would have with native hardware before I got my 3070. But see, I got my 3070 right now, so it really doesn't fit into my test case. I'm all like that. So with that said, it's a great tool. It's going to be very good for its core demographic. Stadia killer no. Also, I play some xCloud. I play some Forza Horizon on xCloud. I haven't played Halo yet. On xCloud. And I will say that even though the visual output wasn't too much better than the norm with xCloud, it was still better. And the performance was great. Now that I would say would have larger ramifications on Stadia's core demographic if there's supposed to be an announcement this week where Stadia is going to mention, or not Stadia, but xCloud is going to mention, or Xbox is going to mention something in regards to its cloud gaming service. Are they going up to 4K now? Or are they going up to 1440p? What is it? That's something to keep an eye on. I think that may be something where somebody may look at their $10 that they're spending on a month on Stadia, and then they look at the $15 they would have to spend with xCloud, and depending upon, it depends on what they want catalog wise. Like, if the majority of the games that you play on the cloud are based off of games that come from the subscription service at no additional charge, that might be something to make you look at xCloud and say, if they do bump up to 4K, you know what I'm saying? 4K 60, and it's a lot better. That might be an alternative for you, depending upon, if you're strapped for cash or whatever. See, I think that fits more into the Stadia core demographic. Someone that's a little budget conscious, I can see that more as a quote unquote threat. But not necessarily, because these are all so cheap. Like, I've had all these services since day one, and with exception to Shadow. You know what I mean? So you can have all of these services and it really not make too much of a dent into how you game. But it can, depending upon your situation. So I would say keep an eye out for that more than anything as far as the threat meter. But yeah, I like what they did with Forza Horizon on xCloud. They really made some enhancements, some improvements, and I like to see cloud gaming in totality go up in trajectory as far as what they can do. But a lot of this rhetoric about this is going to kill Stadia, it feels like that the hopes and the dreams are anything but Stadia, right? If anything but Stadia is successful, let's cheer for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like all the other cloud platforms are on one side and Stadia's on another side. And hopefully we get over that. But I see benefits in all of them. I see target demos for all of them that don't overlap, where they can survive in their own lane despite of the success to the other platforms around them. And I think it's cool. Just me as a gamer, yeah, Stadia is still my preferred way to play. Is it perfect? No. Do I want to see more 60 frames per second on the AAA games? Oh, hell yeah. Definitely. But I kind of understand what's going on. It's all about having that lineage that I spoke of earlier. Because I have the lineage, I understand that it's not a matter of, Stadia's built different. So it's not a matter of them flipping the switch and you're going to get better performance. It didn't happen with the Xbox One X. I had an Xbox One X day one. And performances were marginal to the naked eye until a year later, until Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. It's all about effort. So and shout out to our good friends at Mantis Games that were on the show, that were on SSC podcast with me and Storm. They said it themselves. They said, we've seen the enhanced performance from Stadia. We've seen the 4K 120, maybe even the 8K 120, but we've seen it. Oh, hell yeah, it's impressive. But developers gotta want to develop for it. So, me personally, I'm gonna wait until something else comes. Even though there are things that I like about GFN's new tier, for me to make that type of investment, I would have to see more. So I'm gonna wait. It's a great product. I think it's a great product for the people that it ultimately serves. But I think a lot of even more compound Stadia gamers, the atypical Stadia gamers, it's for you to make that type of investment. I don't know. That being said, I'm gonna, I want to wait and see what else happens, like with Xbox or even Amazon, for crying out loud. Like when Amazon do that 4K tier for the games that I play, for those Ubisoft games that allow you to bump things up to Ultra or whatever, I want to see that. I think I would be, because if Stadia is where it's at, what the 60 frames per second on those Ubisoft games, and then let's just say Amazon said that they're going to make an announcement at the Game Awards. Let's say if that announcement is, hey, now we're doing 4K. I got a feeling, I don't know, I think I could be wrong. I got a feeling they're going to, and I might be wrong about this. Likely I'm wrong about this. That they would say New World is coming to Amazon, coming to Luna. But if their announcement would be, yeah, now we're going up to 4K 60. That's where a lot of my Ubisoft Plus focus would be there. And again, I still would have a need for Stadia, a case for Stadia, but we would see. It would, my use case would, the trajectory of it may change a little bit. We'll see. But again, it's all about, but we got to understand that Stadia is built different. Because Stadia is built different, it's not about upgrading hardware and then you're going to see improvement. You got to have that lineage. You got to look at things from 5,000 feet. And so when we talk about this is the Stadia killer, it's over-bloviated. I just go back to the conversations that I had with Mantis Games live on air. They said it themselves, and they were not shaking pom-poms for Stadia. They've had some, they let their thoughts be known. But one of the things that they did say is they said, we've seen it. We've seen the enhanced, performance. And wow, we've seen it. It's just a matter of, because of how Stadia is built, will developers want to utilize it? All right. So those are my thoughts on why I'm sticking with Stadia. I got hands-on with all of them. I know there's a lot of conversations out there, a lot of rhetoric. And again, you like what you like. Nobody's wrong for how they feel on their opinion. You may feel totally different from me. I just, with some of the things that I've experienced, like my comparison, I did Cyberpunk, which there was a wide gap as far as how it looked, but I ran into issues with the GFN version of Cyberpunk, where it was actually smoother on Stadia. And then I went to Assassin's Creed, Division 2, and then I went to Far Cry 6, where it just wasn't the case. I was getting stutters, things like that. The 4K on the Stadia side when it comes to Division 2 and Far Cry 6 really, that 4K, that's serious. I get graphics are important. They are very important. But having that richer, sharper resolution. It's the reason gamers like me say 4K 60 is fine enough for me. I don't need 120 frames per second. I used to game at 1440p a while ago, and I thought it was cool way back then. And when I did it, I got bored of it fast. I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, "Oh, this is great." I was gaming at 1440p. It was me and my homie Noah Mansa Mua. Oh man, he's a known Xbox troll, well-known Xbox troll. Mansa Mua. We were playing some Destiny 2, and he was getting me to try to get Destiny up to 200 frames per second via 1440p. And I was like, "This is cool," but for me, like, really, you get over 70, 75 frames per second. For me, unless you're doing something competitive, I really don't need it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy if I can get 60 plus frames at 4K, that's the sweet spot for me. Because when you're dealing with 1440p, you lose some of that richness in the output, and it kind of starts looking ashy to me. That's why I don't game in 1440p anymore, and do 100 frames per second. I stopped that a while ago. Now, if I'm left with 1440p, if you up-res it to 4K, it still feels like a richer output, and I like that. I like that. That's just me, and I think that's a lot of gamers like that. You know what I mean? So, all right, with that said, we're gonna take these last few moments to turn it back to the chat. Enough from me. Let me shut my daggone mouth. Randy B says, with everything that Stadia can do, you think it would be a developer's dream, but there's this huge bias to the big three that it's likely they're hesitant on Stadia. I think that's part of it. I definitely am still skeptical, Randy, about the whole Doom situation. I just find it too ironic that on stage they said, "Oh yeah, we're going to do 4K 60 with Stadia," and then when they released it, it was 1800p. It was on par with the Xbox One X. And then in a blink of an eye, they get bought by Microsoft. That's not a coincidence to me, but hey, I may be crazy. Dusty says, Dusty Duran, the Postmaster says, and I say Steam Deck because I just justify a full rig with Deck being a PC. There's also the potential for PlayStation games. Yeah, and I have a 3072. Like I said, the GFN tier, as great as it is, from my experience, it's not a Stadia killer. It's good. It's very good at what it does. There are things that are undeniable that, again, you got to check that box for GFN over Stadia. But are those things that grand and that consistent that it warrants $200 a year, and you got to pay that in big old lumps of 6 months? I think the average Stadia gamer is going to say no, and it's just going to remain a product for a certain type of gamer, which that is great. Bippity says Stadia will probably upgrade and not announce it. That makes me think upgrades will be with Pro at no additional cost. I'd rather. That's it, and that's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm coming from, Bippity. Like, even if they say, okay, Stadia Gen 2.0 is going to be $14.99 a month. Okay, I can deal with that, because I can pay $14.99 a month. That's a lot easier pill to swallow than having to pay $100 every 6 months. That's before I even get a game. Just to access that performance, I got to pay $100 every 6 months. I think that's the killer at the whole, Stadia killer. No pun intended. But then at the end of the day, it's still GFN, meaning you still got to deal with annoying UIs. There's still things you got to deal with. Now, I will admit that the in-game loads are a heck of a lot faster. They might even be better than Stadia's, the in-game loads. But you got to get past the UI first. And again, for the games that I played, the Ubisoft games, those action games, it just wasn't. to give that up and not get, when GFN shines, the new tier shines, it shines, but not to get that shine consistently in every game. I think that'll be that's to where the killer talk. Again, great product for what it's worth. I think people may supplement their experiences. It may become, somebody may look at it and say, okay, I do prefer this. But there are just amenities that I get with Stadia to where now Stadia goes from 1 to 2. You know, you may have situations like that. I just think the bulk of the community is going to stay where it's at because Stadia scratches a certain itch and GFN scratches another itch. Vippity also says, for me, I'm not interested in a tier. That's not a bash. I think it's too much. I like the features and that's the thing. It's the whole plug and play nature. It just works. And that's the itch that Stadia scratches. Jeff says, I am in the car dealership, getting snow tires in my car and playing Dirt 5 via cell connection. Yeah, that is fantastic. Collins Dynasty says, buy a PC. Collins says that price tag makes no sense. Yeah, and I'm giving it to my son for Christmas. I don't think he knows this yet. Did I mention it to him? I'm gonna give it to my son. That's gonna be one, part of his Christmas gift. Is I'm just gonna give him the tier, but he's gonna have to pay it after this first 6 months. I'm not. Yeah, that's really the deal breaker for me. That's the deal breaker for me. Let me say, there's no talks about it being a Stadia killer for me. Without 4K resolution, without that richness that I like to get from that extra resolution, that sharpness, it's not going to be a Stadia killer. But it still could have fit in my portfolio. For me, it doesn't fit in my portfolio for two main reasons. Number one, the price. For three main reasons. Number one, the price. Number two, the lack of consistency in how grandiose it can perform from game to game. And three, just the convenience factor for me. Pixel Book can probably do it, they said. And your mama knows says, who said start this show without me? What's up, MM? How you doing, sir? I'm doing fantastic. Holsey22 in the house says, what's good, homie? I'm doing good, man. Good to see you back. Good to see you back. I just think that it's great to be a gamer right now, to see these new technologies really develop and flesh themselves out. I do have the video of my GFN performance. I was gonna share it, but I said I don't want to fan any flames. Like, we're, to each its own. I may show it to the members, and I may chop it up to make it easier to digest to the general public at a later time. But I do think that the tier is great for who it's targeting. I do think that. Just think that a lot of Stadia gamers are going to wait. They're either going to wait for either Stadia to enhance it and come with a more consumer-friendly way of getting some of those enhancements that GFN does provide, if not more. Or they're going to wait to see what somebody else provides. So it's an interesting time in cloud gaming. But you definitely see Stadia growing in popularity to a degree. I'm not gonna sit there and say it's got Xbox popularity or play. No, that, of course that's bogus. But it's a 1% business, and you're definitely seeing that despite a lot of the rhetoric that was attempted earlier on. Stadia's dead, they gotta upgrade. You're seeing that there was so much enthusiasm for the platform. And I've seen conversations where it was like, well, Stadia really didn't come out with a big bang game. You know what I mean? So the most to take away from this 2-year celebration was how enthused the community is. And that's a great portion. This is a great community. Not to take anything away from us and what we do as a community. But I think the suggestion that's made from that is that there's not something solid that we're coalescing around. You know what I mean? Like we're not excited for a reason. And I just want to tell my story real quick, again, for those that are not familiar with it. I was a fully entrenched in PC gaming. Fully entrenched. And I was so dismayed from having to always finagle with settings and stuff like that I was on the verge of a breakdown. I remember my homie Cold Blood Sensei came in and said, Mars, what is wrong with you, bro? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, man, I can't get this to work. This is pathetic, this, that, and the other. And then along comes Stadia. And Stadia gave me great performance, great fidelity at a reasonable price. Well, I didn't have to break the bank. And as a streamer, as someone that now wants to show the content when I play games, it was a lifesaver for me. So, and they continue to do that on and on and on and on and on. Now, has it gotten perfect? No. It is a shame that developers have taken to the road of, you know what, we're going to give you 30 frames per second on some of these AAA games and we'll supply the 60 frames per second later. And it's shameful to see Ubisoft do that in some regards. You know what I'm saying? There's no denying that. But still, for the majority of the games that I play, I do enjoy them on Stadia. Maybe the latest two, I may opine elsewhere, but there are still games that are coming out regularly on Stadia that I play and I enjoy. And that plug and play, that ease of use, like Madden. I love Madden. I play a lot of stuff. Outriders is now a very smooth experience. So I'll play those games on the go, games that I love and I enjoy, and I don't have to break the bank in order to do it. In order for you to pry my hands from Stadia, you got to come with all that. You got to come not only with great fidelity, great output, great, you know what I'm saying? What's the word that I'm looking for? Great flexibility. But I don't feel like, I shouldn't have to feel like that I got to donate blood plasma and get me a sugar cookie every Thursday in order to opine on what you have to offer. You know what I mean? And Stadia provides that. You know, now other things may provide some great stuff. Like I said, I'm eyeballing to see what Xbox is going to do. I'm eyeballing to see what Amazon's going to do, and I may add them to my gaming portfolio even more, depending upon what they have to offer. I want to see what Amazon's going to talk about at the Game Awards. I want to see what Xbox got to reveal this week. But in order for you to pry my hands off of Stadia, you got to provide all that. You got to provide that package. And you got to give Stadia its flowers. You can't pin it on the community, which the community is great. You can't pin it on Phil Harrison's shiny head. You can't pin it on none of that. You gotta attribute the platform for what it's good at. And it's just good at what it's good at. Give it its flowers. They're all good at something, I feel. But you definitely gotta give Stadia its flowers. We got Bulls for Life. He says, what's up? Chris Arran says, as far as New World, I'm more excited and hoping for Lost Ark on Luna. Amazon is publishing it in the US. P.S. What are your thoughts on the new pro games? I think the new pro games are cool. I think they're good. A lot of people were excited about them, and I think they're a great value. And that just shows you that, again, a lot of the talking heads that say, well, Stadia is not giving you this, and you didn't get Guardians of the Galaxy, and it is a little disappointing not to get those games, not to get Battlefield, not to know if Dying Light 2 is coming. It's disappointing, but to say because Stadia doesn't get that, its value is little next to none is silly. and the response that Stadia is getting. Listen to Jack Deslip. Jack, I want to show y'all this real quick. I know I'm running a little bit over. Oh yeah, I'm running definitely a lot over. Let's see if I can get to my wife in 15 minutes. We'll shut down in 5 minutes. Let's see here. I want to go to Jack. Let me go in. All right. So my homie Jack put this up here. He says, Sunday stats, a huge week for Stadia growth. Stadia has been amassing 100 plus new members every day for the last 10 days. The Dirt 5 leaderboard passed 50K Stadians and is still growing at over 1,000 names a day. And look, that is crazy. And I haven't played Dirt 5 yet. I haven't because of Stadia Pro and I haven't played it yet. So all the silly rhetoric about Stadia, because they don't provide this, that all the talking heads are talking about, therefore it's doomed, it's not true to the sentiments of the Stadia demographic. That is why on StadiaDosage we do this, and I know people get heartburn when we do this. Oh man, but what people gotta understand is they gotta get out of their own bubbles. Everything is not based upon what you like. Stadia leads cloud platforms in name and number of current games listed on NPD charts. Because of that, look at this. This is who Stadia is targeting. Stadia is targeting the people that puts these games on these charts. This is their core demographic. And they outperform their peers as they should because that's their core demographic. Just like if you pull out a Steam chart, GFN is going to outshine its peers as they should. And so on and so on. Everybody has a core demographic, and especially if you're a new emerging business, you gotta focus your focus. You know what I'm saying? You can't be everything to everybody, or your product is going to be a failure. That's why Xbox, when it came out, it was for the more hardcore gamer. Yes. Did it get splattered at first? Yeah, but it established a core demographic, something to build from. And then it grew from that. When PlayStation first came out, y'all don't remember this, but I remember my aunt who don't play video games. She saw the commercial with me and she said, oh, I would like to get that. It was advertised as a gaming system for people that weren't traditionally gamers. And really, PlayStation is what helped take gaming from out of the basement and make it a mainstream gaming hobby. Because of how they targeted people that normally didn't play games. And they did that through cinematics and movie presentations and all that other stuff. That's why you have such a wide gap in what you saw in Final Fantasy VII opposed to what you saw in Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VII funded and supported by Sony because, again, they were trying to bring this movie experience that would entice a larger audience into playing games. And it was successful. And then they pivoted from that. You can't be everything to everybody. So, Stadia is doing what it needs to do as far as it growing for its core demographic. I'm pretty sure GFN is doing what it needs to do. Amazon, they're going to do what they need to do. Xbox and so forth. But everybody has their own lanes. In some centers, they intersect. But you can't be everything to everybody. Okay? Let's go to some of these final comments and then we're going to move on. Indeed, give Stadia time to grow. Yes. Jay Smith says, I was just waiting to see which cloud gaming platforms get the Pearl Abyss game. Romella Thomas says, what's up, guys? Romella, good to see you. Christopher Turris, pro games are pretty dope. They're pretty good in my opinion for December. Like always, Stadia came out with great games and features that people don't talk about it. I believe no matter what they do, they will always have a few complainers regardless what Google does. Yeah, what it is people, what they want to do for Stadia is they want to compare it to Xbox and PlayStation. What they want to do for the other platforms is just say how well they're doing in the cloud. And it doesn't make sense. That's why I said, it's great for entertainment purposes to listen to a lot of these talking heads and these journos, but you got to make sure that you're being educated. You can't go wrong with being educated. So listen to people that are in the know, that follow the facts. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So I lean on Jack a lot for a lot of this stuff. Let's just take a real quick look at what his Stadia Reddit has said. A huge week for Stadia growth. Talks about the Stadia Pro, the Dirt 5 leaderboard. Rayman Legend just released 5 days ago, but it also has a global leaderboard that is already in the thousands. And look, these are 2 games I haven't even touched. Not officially a milestone, but StadiaHunters.com cruised past 1,500 users this week as well. Balding Gamer, just a whole bunch of stuff. You're seeing things go up. So, again, each of them have their own core demo, and you got to respect that. And you got to reasonably say that, they're all doing well in their core demographic. Why do I say that? We're going to talk about that later this week. Because the projections for cloud gaming have doubled. They have doubled. So I would like to see a lot of our people in the cloud community stop doing. I mean, it's okay to make comparisons and things like that, but just stop talking as doom and gloom. I'm not going to talk doom and gloom over GFN, even though it's not for me. It's for my son. You know what I'm saying? Like you would have to pry GFN from my son's cold dead hands. Okay? But let's not talk doom and gloom for any of these platforms. These are emerging markets. And cloud gaming projections have doubled. They went from projecting that cloud gaming was going to be at 7 billion in 2027 to saying that it's almost going to be 14 billion in 2026. You trying to tell me that Stadia doesn't have a slice in that pie? That's absurd. But you also cannot tell me that Stadia is the only reason why for that. That's absurd as well. So cloud gaming is making strides across the board. I know we have disappointments here and there, but let's look at the facts and look at who's serving what. And let's be respectful to the core demographic that does appreciate something, whether we appreciate it or not. And with that said, we got Vet Cloud Gaming with the $5. He says, respect for the work that you put in, brother. Appreciate it, Vet. Thank you. All right. And we're going to close out with that. I got 10 minutes to pick up my wife. I should have left 20 minutes ago. But I had to knock the rest off. With that said, thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to do more of this, this week. We're going to have more conversations and also SSC podcasts. Check us out. The homie, Peter Cottontail, I think his move is done. We got Ninja Guy X. Hopefully we get Daryl Smockin, and we got some other few guests that might pop in. And it's the format is changing. A lot of stuff changing here. We got other contributors that are adding stuff to Stadia Dosage. You got a little taste of that. We tested it out this past weekend. You got a little taste of that this weekend. Again, if you would like to be part of this evolution, hit us up on Stadia Dosage. Okay, go to the website. And you can go to, let's see here. I think it's SDO feedback at pntsnetwork.com. Definitely go there. SDO feedback at pntsnetwork.com. Definitely go there if you want to be part of this evolution. Because this is year 3. Now we ain't playing no games. We are turning it over to the community. And we want to work with those that want to work for the community. Okay? With that said, appreciate, love all of y'all. Y'all have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.